Welcome to another session of Technology by Performance. I'm Ken Umansky, your host, as we explore more of the world of technology. Today, my guest is Melissa Snover, founder and CEO of Rem3dy Health. She's a lifelong entrepreneur and innovator in the world of food technology and 3D printing. Melissa is leading the charge in developing personalized solutions for preventative and curative health under the brands of Nourished and Scripted. In 2020, she raised the highest ever female founder seed round in UK history for Rem3dy, solidifying her place as a leading voice in the world of fast growth business and health tech. She is a passionate advocate for women in business and an avid mentor to young people in STEM fields. Welcome, Melissa. I'm really happy for you to join me today. You know, you and I have been trying to get together for a long time, and we finally did it. Before we get into some of the questions, though, would you explain to our audience what Nourished is all about?
Sure, Ken. Thank you so much for having me. I've been wanting to get this in the diary for ages, so I'm so glad we found a slot that worked. Nourished is basically the world's first authentically manufactured personalized nutrition product. And this product is really made possible by some cutting edge technology that we develop at Rem3dy around additive and advanced manufacturing. This is most people think of those technologies as 3D printing, but there's quite a few different ways that you can do it that I think maybe kind of skew off of 3D printing. By utilizing 3D printing technology, we can take individual information about an individual's life, their existing health, the things that they're trying to achieve, so goals, what they eat, their daily exercise regime, how are you sleeping, etc. And we can take all of that information, combine that with a really cool proprietary AI-enabled recommendation engine, and then figure out which ingredients from the humongous amount of different options that are available would be best suited to serve that person's immediate health and their longer term goals. Then the 3D printer comes in and can basically take all that information, which is super cool information, but if you can't do anything with it, it's kind of pointless. And the 3D printer takes that information, takes those individual ingredients, the dosages that are required, and can create a product that is a combination of those special ingredients to create a perfect product that is uniquely suited to an individual person.
Wow, that's really cool. How did you come up with that idea?
Well, in my past history in my career, I have been an entrepreneur for a long time. And my big kind of break into FMCG food was when I developed the world's first vegan, allergen-free gummy candy. And at the time, I did the recipes in my kitchen and a laboratory at my university. And then I had come up with some really great formulas, but I had a problem. I had no factory. So I had to go knocking on the doors of big manufacturers, asking them if they would make this product for me. And as luck would have it, I got one of the world's largest manufacturers of gummy to make my products. And on the back of that, I got to spend, basically on and off for 3 years, a ton of time inside these big, massive, high volume, high quality factories. And while I was really impressed by the quality and the scale that they were able to achieve, I was extremely frustrated by, the limitations and restrictions around the manufacturing methods that they used. And this is really what is being done in 99% of all the factories. So when I sold that company to Cloetta PLC, I decided that I wanted to try and tackle this manufacturing challenge and create a new manufacturing technique that would be agile and basically lower or eliminate the restrictions to innovation and personal fit. And so I started to look at all the different technologies, and I came across 3D printing. And I thought, wow, this actually has a ton of potential, but nobody's really doing it for food, and certainly no one's doing it for what I want. And so again, I went to big manufacturers of 3D printers, and I asked them, will you help me do this? And they said it can't be done, shouldn't be done, can't be done for less than $10 million. And I did not have said $10 million. And so I decided to do it myself. I learned 3D printing myself from scratch. I bought 3D printers off the internet, took them apart, put them back together, learn G code, which is machine driver code that basically plots the way that a 3D printer moves, and develop some really cool material science. And within 6 months, I had developed the world's first FDA, FSA compliant 3D food printer that I launched into the world for customization of candy, because that was where I was coming from. After rolling that out and really seeing it kind of take stock in all of these markets where we sold it, I realized that, yeah, it was a big success and I was very proud of it, but actually the technology was far more powerful than the area where we pointed it. And if we actually took that base technology and pointed it at the area of health, we could create a humongous difference in people's lives. And to me, I think of all the things in the world that should be personalized, that could have a huge value add, it's our health. And right now, most of the health world is absolutely not personalized still today.
That's so true. So true.
Yeah.
It's interesting when I think of 3D printing here in Texas, in Austin especially, they are using it to build houses.
Mm,
Actually,
cool.
actually pouring concrete in different layers based on the blueprint that's in the 3D printer. And, it's kind of prefab, but it's for low-income housing, it's really working. So
Yeah.
when I think of 3D printing, when I read about what you're doing, it had nothing to do with food, that's for sure, or supplements. Um,
Absolutely.
as a tech-driven company, what's the biggest challenges you faced in integrating 3D printer into the production process? Because, you started to talk about that. If you could elaborate, that would be great.
Yeah, I think you nailed it really. 3D printers are extremely good at handling multiple kinds of materials, but they are, the vast majority of use cases that you see in the world today are around industrial and prototyping of machine parts, plastic, metal, ceramics, and so on. And while there is still regulations around those types of things, it's very different than what we do, which is, create something with a 3D printer that we then want the consumer to put in their mouth and consume.
Right.
And so when you think about regulatory frameworks, a lot of people think that drugs are much that the regulation around drugs is much higher than around food. And I can tell you from 15 years experience, that's really not the case. And the reason for that is because if someone puts something in their mouth and swallows it and it's digested and it has the potential to hurt them, harm them, or kill them, then the regulation around it is extremely high. And so while pharma new drug development has a much more rigorous pathway, when it comes to the quality of a medicine versus the quality of a food, the regulations have a ton of similarity in relation to the stringency in which they are applied. And in America, for example, that's why they are combined, the Food and Drug Administration, right?
Right.
So really, the regulations around food safety are extremely rigorous, and any machine that's being used to produce food has to be made 100% from food safe materials. So that's the first thing. So our actual 3D printers are made with special material that is food safe material. And then you have this topic around traceability and control. So when you make anything at home and you use a recipe, maybe you are one of those chefs that flies by the seat of their pants and you just guesstimate how much goes in. In manufacturing of food in a commercial sense, that is absolutely not allowed. And you have to make sure that the exact amount of each thing that you say is going to be in it is in it. And when it comes to vitamins and supplements, that actually is even more important because, taking too much of something could actually have a negative impact. Not enough could create no benefit. So either way, it's not a good outcome. And so with our 3D technology, we had to try and find a way of controlling the individual formulations of each active ingredient. And then we had to prove with 10,000 different tests and third-party lab validations that the dosage of each ingredient in each product was exactly what it was meant to be in order to get all of our certifications that allow us to produce food today. So that is, just the regulatory side of it. I think that was something that, because I came from big food, I knew was going to happen. So I had it in the forefront of my mind while developing the machine. But I think it is one of the things that techies and, we call it in the UK makers, they are usually not from that world, and where they can come up with great ideas, that regulatory compliance thing can really throw a lot of spanners in the works.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Let me ask you about AI and machine learning. That's really transforming rather a lot of different industries. You see these technologies influencing the future and personalized nutrition and Nourish specifically, and if so, how?
Yeah, I think there's not really an industry on the planet that will be completely unchanged by AI. When you think about our industry, it, I grit my teeth, because when we built the Nourished algorithm, which has AI functionality in it, we had to build that from scratch. And so AI is not new. Natural language prompting is what's new and what ChatGPT has done. And ChatGPT has really basically overcome the tech hype cycle by increasing usability for the average consumer, right? But AI and algorithmic learning and recommendation engines, this you could build from scratch, from much longer before that. When we were developing the first iteration of our recommendation engine, myself and three other people on my team had to literally read hundreds, if not thousands and thousands of pages of clinical trials and tag the documents with specific identifiers and then put them into a data lake, so that when someone answered the questions on the consultation, those questions would then be basically matched to the tags and then result in a recommendation. Where AI now is so much easier to use, and the computing power of it is much bigger, it's going to allow for all of the amazing data that exists to be sifted through and correlative action to be taken as a result. So, for example, to look at the human genome or all the diversity that exists in the human microbiome, a human would never be able to do this, not in a lifetime, actually. But by using the power of AI, we can sift through this huge amount of data from lots and lots of different sources and create really meaningful outcomes around, if this is there, that means this, then we should do this. And that is something that is going to facilitate improvements in healthcare and improvements in the way that we can personalize health on a humongous scale that's really difficult to envision in reality.
Right. Yeah. I've been following a lot of companies that are into operationalizing AI,
Yeah,
because a lot of what's happened in the last year has been, about, using AI for personal use rather than operationalizing it for manufacturing and for other areas.
yeah,
There's a lot of technology being developed that will do exactly that, which is really cool. When we can talk
yeah.
about that. Can you talk more about how technological innovations have had an impact on your business and where it's going?
Absolutely. So, our business is a technology first company. We really have innovation in our blood, and we are constantly innovating. Not all of these innovations win awards or are patentable, but they are all, every day we have a kind of innovation led culture, which is around this idea that nothing is broken, but everything can be improved forever.
Right.
Right. So this idea that, hey, we can do this spreadsheet better, this reporting structure can be better, we could get a better way of ordering supply chain requirement. Like, there's so many little tiny things that happen on a daily basis. But when we think about technology, when I started doing this, nobody was doing it. And so we had to do it ourselves. And as we've continued to grow and innovate the technology, we've gone from, a printer that could print a month's supply of product for someone in around 15 minutes to printers that can print a month's supply of product for someone in about 2 minutes. But then even on, the next step from that, at the beginning of this year, we built and commissioned the world's first high-speed personalization line, which allows us to make 500,000 units a day and reach different customers and different business models in a way which was completely, outside of the realm of possibility with the previous technology format. And so I think, I wish you were here, because I would love to walk you around, because when I meet a tech enthusiast, it makes me want to show them what we're doing. But I'm sitting in my office. Right next to me is our MPD formulary lab. They are doing every formula that we use in our facility on on site with our own testing. Right next door, the other way, is my technology team and the innovation center, which is where they build all the machines, build prototypes. They have, I don't know how many they have, probably 300 different 3D printers, massive CNC machines as big as my car. And so the fact that we built this innovation and technology power within the business has meant that we could be agile and adaptable to everything from COVID, which happened 10 weeks after we opened, to, supply chain crises, to, changing regulations around different ingredients and different packaging types, not with no challenge, but with considerably less challenge than I think a business without that power internally.
Yeah, wow. Congratulations on getting past COVID.
Oh, yeah, it was very difficult. We were so new as well. We were fragile.
I bet you
So,
were.
yeah.
Yeah. With tech evolving, as you've mentioned, and I think everybody knows, at such a rapid pace, what strategies are you using to stay ahead of the curve and ensure that Nourished remains at the forefront of both the nutrition and tech industries?
So, yeah, this is, I think, something that, again, never really ends. A lot of people that I talk to in STEM fields find it tiring. I actually find it really exciting when I see other people doing other things, whether they're directly related to what I'm doing or not. It's quite inspiring to me, and it makes me want to do more. I think where I have the biggest challenge as a CEO is I have amassed this incredible team of extremely smart, innovation-led people. And my biggest challenge is not that we don't research and develop enough new things, it's that we don't focus enough on one thing to smash it. And so my job at the moment is to take all of the excitement. We have monthly innovation days where everybody gets to bring any idea from any part of the business. But then the rule is by the end of the day, we have to pick 3, and those 3 we focus on. And then by the end of the following week, we have to eliminate one, and so that they get used to this idea that you cannot do everything at all times well, and we have to choose which of these things do we care about the most. Are we going to pin our hat on? Yeah.
That's really a tough decision, and
Yeah.
everybody wants to do everything. Oh, look at this. That's really cool. I mean, that's
Yeah.
great. Let's go grab it, right? Yeah, I understand that. Fortunately, we have run out of time. I want to thank you for your stimulating discussion. I mean, I learned a lot, and my audience must have learned a lot about how you're innovating, how you're using technology, and how you're changing both the food and supplement business. I hope you'll do something. When you continue to grow, I hope you'll come back and visit with us again, because what you're doing is really cutting edge and really interesting to me and to, I'm sure, my audience. How can our listeners contact you if they have some questions or want to get involved?
Well, they can find me on LinkedIn. Just type in my name, or just Nourished, and they will find me. Or if they'd like to go to our website and learn more about what we do, it's get-nourished.com.
Terrific. Thanks again. Don't miss the next episode of TechKNOWlogy, when we'll discuss how technology is changing different categories. Remember, you can always find TechKNOWlogy podcast on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, and SoundCloud. And if you need help with any size technology challenge, please contact Performance Business Solutions at performixbiz.com. I'm your host, Ken Umansky, and until we meet again on another technology podcast, keep innovating.